Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Atlanta REALTORS Rundown, the official podcast of the Atlanta REALTORS Association. Today, I am here with Quinn Arnau. Quinn is the incoming 2026 president of the Atlanta REALTOR Association. I'm Andy Payne. I am one of 4 podcast hosts for this year. That's how we structure this. And I'm happy to sit down with you and just chat a little bit about you and what you hope to accomplish this year and those sorts of things.
Wonderful. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy.
All right. So I did a little bit of research, and using AI for research is a little bit of a landmine, but it said, Jim and I said that you are a 6th generation Atlantan. Is that true?
That's true.
Wow. So you're actually from here.
Well, I grew up in Gwinnett County. So,
well, hey.
And with that, and then I lived in unincorporated DeKalb County for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time I had an Atlanta address, but not in the city limits.
But your family,
Yes.
their families.
All of my grandparents were born in the Virginia Highland neighborhood and went to Grady High School, now Midtown High School.
And you live in Grant Park area now?
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. So, and now you are a realtor, you're a father, you're the president of one of the largest trade organizations in the city. How's that feel?
Andy, that sounds like a lot of responsibility. I'm thrilled. It's wonderful to be able to spend time with those who seek to give back to their industry. And I find positive influences here in this building and in our industry. And I just love being around creative problem solvers. And, you know, as a parent, I'm pretty much a creative problem solver all the time now.
Sure,
I'm not sure quite what I thought I was getting into as a parent or as a realtor for that matter when I started. But, you know, every day is different and I enjoy that.
So did you want to be a realtor from childhood, or is this your 3rd or 4th job like most of us?
So I think in my mind, I was going to either follow in parents' footsteps, be a CPA, maybe be an attorney. And it turns out I just didn't really like sitting in classrooms all that much, you know, which doesn't lend itself to law school.
Right.
Or, you know, a master's degree maybe. But I always like people, always like to solve problems. I worked in insurance appraisal and claims for I think 8 or 9 years, and also had a small deli and catering business with my brother-in-law. We had a storefront open for about 18 months. Food business, of course, is very tough. We had a good lunch business, but in the end, it wasn't going to work. So about the time I met my wife, I decided I was going to retire at, I think it was about 30, and we closed the business. So all of a sudden, I'm sure she was wondering what in the world she was doing.
Like, hey,
hanging out with me.
Yeah,
right. But then, you know, I'd had, you know, some family members encouraged me to get a license here and there, and I just decided, you know, let's go for it. And I took in-person classes right here at the Atlanta REALTORS School of Real Estate, formerly Capitus, formerly the Georgia Institute of Real Estate, maybe. Okay, yeah.
How long ago was that?
I remember I was in pre-licensing when they announced that the Braves were moving to Cobb County.
Okay.
So I can't think exactly. I think I've been licensed for 12 or 13 years. My license number starts with a 3.
Yep, I got a 3 as well.
There we go.
So have you always just done residential, or have you done other types of real estate, or have you just been like your traditional realtor?
My business is mainly referral based. You know, I feel like I've done a lot of research into commercial deals, done a little leasing, a little bit of property management. So, you know, we all kind of end up with this education on a daily basis in our industry that could take us in any direction, but primarily residential focused in town. And, you know, the other places our clients take us.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, like if somebody's like, hey, can you help me with this? You're like, I don't know. Let me, maybe, you know, and then, no, I don't think I can do that. But, But now you know that little bit more every time you delve into something.
Yes, and every time you think you're not, we're surprised with new questions all the time. Some will call, but I mean, I think one of the best things we can do is to know what we don't know
Yeah.
And when someone asks us a question that we don't have a great answer for, then say, well, let me get back to you.
Yeah.
Because there are very few things in real estate that are true emergencies.
Yeah, right. I know one of my early mentors said, this is not brain surgery. No one is life or death. No one is on the table, right?
Right.
But at the same time, it feels like that to clients. And, due diligence is up at midnight. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So it feels like an emergency sometimes, but.
Right.
It's
And I think what gets lost sometimes to the public is that a large part of our role is as counselors to our clients. I mean, we're consultants, and whatever they've got going on in their personal lives, they're bringing into the transaction with them.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest challenges and opportunities.
Now, through your years here at the ARA, you've held several committee posts. You've done lots of things. What was your first thing that you did? How did you get involved with the Realtor Association initially?
Well, I would say at the suggestion of past President Scott Askew. So at the time I was getting my real estate license, I had posted on Facebook, which, I mean, at that time was maybe 10 years old, and I said, hey, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. And at the time, my now business partner, Michael Fisher, said, well, come talk to my broker. And incidentally, I didn't know Michael all that well. I knew him in college a little bit.
Okay.
And he's a few years younger than me. So we reconnected there, and I went and talked to Scott. And it just so happened I also lived like a mile away from the office at the time. And Michael had gotten involved, particularly with governmental affairs. And so I went in support of him. And also, I think at the time also, this is a few years in, because I think also I became involved because I was in the building to get my associate broker's license.
Okay.
So I was here for another couple weeks, having been in the industry for a few years. And I think, I went to the chili cook-off, and I've been going to some governmental affairs meetings. And then, one thing led to the next, and here we are.
Yeah, there you go. So, a lot of people don't know. They think they want to be president of the Atlanta Realtors Association as a goal, that it's a 7, 8, 10-year commitment / journey towards learning more and more and more and becoming, qualified to be the president of the Atlanta Realtors Association. There's a lot to it. And I know you've been through that journey, right? You've been vice president, you've been on the board, you've been exec, you've been president-elect, and now you're here. So going into 2026, what is the thing that you want to look back at the end of this year and say, I accomplished that? This is what I did as president.
Well, I think what I would like to see our organization do kind of mirrors where I hope our industry is going this year. We've had, first of all, it's like, the name who we don't speak. We don't acknowledge sometimes the massive changes in the world that occurred as a result of the 2020 pandemic. At the time, a Zoom meeting was a last resort. And the way we participate and interact as a society is moving so quickly. I think that providing positivity, stability, and, really a place that our realtor community can call home. There is so much change going on in our industry and our world right now that those who are real estate professionals in Atlanta need a steady, safe place to be and to speak with other professionals and to grow their skill sets both in leadership and in real estate. And that's what I want our association to be. And also, as our city has grown, and Atlanta over the years has been a diverse city. And what I've found is also it's a globally diverse city. We have the World Cup coming this summer. And I know that in our emerging leaders class, I didn't get an exact count, but when they were going around the room and talking in the first session they had, which was just a few weeks ago, there were at least 3 of the 20 that were born outside of the United States.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And I would imagine if I remembered or had asked them all that there are more than that. So Atlanta is truly a global city, and our marketplace is evolving. So being prepared for the future, both technologically and with a global sense, I think is a goal.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, we definitely need a place of stability, a place where we know this is supportive. It's not combative. And it's also like more of a touchstone, kind of like with everything that's changing. This is, I mean, we're a little slow to change because we're such a large association, but I feel like, I know over the past 10 years or 8 years that I've been involved, yeah, it feels like there's lots of things that are happening really fast, but at the same time, it has that flow that is, like you said, just a resource, and you can come here and not feel like the world's against you.
Right. Well, it's, I mean, I would say no pun intended, but pun intended, I mean, it's a foundation. I feel like that volunteering with the Realtor organization has created a foundation for my career, and I genuinely do not feel like I would have a lasting career in real estate had I not spent this much time here. And my goal as president is to make sure that all those new folks who come in orientation, not really knowing what to expect, but hopeful for a new career where they get to really choose their own adventure and guide their own career, that they have a great experience here and the opportunity to do that too.
Awesome. So the market is stabilizing, I would say. Things seem to, price appreciation has slowed down a little bit. Inventory is kind of at a decent level. There's not a frenzied activity. What would you say to those agents who are coming into the business as a piece of advice, like, or something maybe that you would, tell your past self?
Well, I'll tell my present self this right now, Andy, and that's spend time in the office.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that when I began my career, spending time with experienced agents and helping them troubleshoot things that they were going through in deals, and having them to be an ear when I had questions and work through things there. I don't know that that maybe that our clients and customers understand that, sometimes we'll either be an individual agent or maybe you're on a team, but that there's a whole infrastructure behind us that includes, other independent contractors as agents who, when appropriate, that we share information and problem solve with. And I've learned so much from agents in our industry and brokers here at the association in continuing education. So I'd say spend time in the office, and you can never get enough continuing education. Yeah, because you're going to have to get it anyway. You might as well go ahead and also just take on anything. Once you've got a start in your career, then you can decide, where is it best to spend my time. But the more complete picture you have of the work, the better prepared you're going to be for, the unexpected. Yeah,
that's good. That's good advice. How are you planning on, and this is something I feel like I should have asked the past two presidents that I know really well, and some of the other ones. How do you balance your career actively helping buyers and sellers with the new duties of, not just being here, but representing us in the Georgia Association, representing us in the National Association? What's your plan on how to have a life and contribute and run your business?
Well, I think, being biased towards action is helpful. When you're leading an organization of this size and also working in business, being a parent, having confidence in the decisions you make, moving forward and solving the next problem instead of anticipating 3 problems that might not ever arise. So being decisive, being efficient, and staying in motion. And also, for me, it's imperative that I get some outside time and some exercise pretty much every day, just to clear my head and unplug. And that's what I did before I came here for the podcast. I went for a run. It's freezing cold, but it centers you, and it's puts you in the place where you can trust the intuition and knowledge that you've accumulated over time instead of reacting to whatever's going on at the present time.
So your business partner, Michael Fisher, was president 2 years ago. Did you help him when he was president, and now he's going to help you when you're president? As far as like, hey, I can't go to that inspection because I'm going to be in Chicago at the National Association of Realtors.
Well, it's funny, and I don't know how many people will listen to this work on small or large teams, but like in any business, our business has evolved over time, and we work together and cover things. He lives geographically in a little different area than I do, so sometimes that will make sense, and sometimes we have other folks that help us. You know, I have a spouse who helps a ton, and what I've realized is if I'm having, if I know my week is going to be wild and crazy, I just say, I need, you know, this is a week that I need your support. It's very direct. I need support this week, instead of, you know, keeping that and then trying to be all things to all people all the time. And then, you know, volcano explodes and I'm upset because there was, the dishwasher's got dirty dishes in it and somebody's putting something in the sink, because that might have happened before.
What, an explosion of
just focusing pent-up feelings on something small that's not really.
Oh yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's funny. So for the last few years, agents have complained there's nothing to sell. And now I feel like agents are complaining about different things. How would you, and this is, we talked about this a little bit before.
I already like this question.
How would you talk to a seller who still thinks it's 2021 and they're going to sell their house with multiple offers in 24 hours?
Well, Andy, what I would say right now is that I think we have enough data to show the sellers with data what is going on in the market. And, you know, I think once you've shown them objective evidence, then you can help create trust in the experience. And that's the reason they hired you. Yeah. And, you know, there are times when sellers with full understanding are going to want to price how they're going to want to price. They'll want to do things their way, and then it's your decision whether that's the next problem that you want to approach. And I think, you know, acknowledging and understanding that that every seller has a different goal and motivation. Some want to move fast. Some of them are moving to another property, you know, and understanding their goals. That way you can cater your approach directly to them. Yeah,
I mean, I know what the appraisal says, but my neighbor's house sold for this, and so that's what I want. And because I'm better than my neighbor's house, right?
Right. I mean, I think, you know, you've got to show them the work. You can't leave any gaps for them to find mistrust, and if you're doing things the way that you should be doing, holding houses open, agent caravan, communication is a key. Yeah. I mean, you know, if you don't anticipate questions and bring answers to sellers, then they're going to come up with their own questions and their own answers. So making sure that you're on top of the information, the local market, being an expert. And, you know, if it's a neighborhood where, you know, that's another great thing about the association. I don't know that no matter where I am in town, that I've got a friend, a colleague who I can call and say, hey, what's going on? Yeah. You know, I mean, I post things, and somebody reached out to me the other week. What'd you think of that house? Because I did a little Instagram reel, and they'd shown the house too. You know, and it's those little things. You
didn't talk about it ahead of time. They just noticed it.
Right. Yeah. They had been there too. You know, we kind of get in a, what do they call it? Tunnel vision. We get tunnel vision, but here there are thousands of us all going around, and we're not competing every time, all the time. Right. We help each other. Right. And in doing so, we make things better for everybody.
Yeah. I know that's one lesson that I learned here was when I first got in the business, I thought the other agent was my enemy because we're negotiating. We're trying to get the best deal for our clients. Right. We're trying to, you know, win, quote unquote, and that, you know, you didn't share information with the other agent because then they would use it against you, or, you know, you just have that combative experience. And over time you're like, oh no, wait a minute. We're actually mostly friends here, and we all get along pretty well, and it's a bunch of amazing people. And you see somebody that you know on the other side of the deal, and you're like, oh, yes, this is going to work. Right. As opposed to, oh, no, they're a terror, or, oh, no, they're tough. It's more like, oh, we're going to get through this. This is going to be great.
Well, there's enough uncertainty. We talked about this at the beginning here, not only in the world, but also in a real estate transaction. I mean, there are so many moving parts. So having a great relationship with your co-op agent is key to that, and there are times when there might be crazy circumstances on either side of the deal. And if you can provide some reference to, hey, here is the reason that my buyer is so worked up about this, or here is the reason that the seller is not fast to communicate. Right. These are opportunities to bridge those gaps. And the one thing I find myself repeating is that, with great communication, you're eliminating stress in a transaction that doesn't need to be there. Yeah. If there is ever, stress or anxiety that you can alleviate and it does not cost anybody anything, then you've got to do it, because the challenges will find you.
Yeah, I feel the same way. So the ARA, Realtor Association in general, is an force for advocacy. What are you thinking about as far as our day at the Dome that's coming up, our role as advocates for property owners and for realtors? What are your things you're thinking about this year as far as how the ARA, RPAC, how it all works together to help advocate for better government?
Well, housing affordability and attainability is something that is a big need everywhere. And we saw, and I can't remember the exact statistic, but I want to say at the low point of interest rates, which was sometime in 2021 to a point a few weeks ago when I last looked at this, if you take the change in interest rates and the change in prices, the median buyer has seen their monthly payment double. Yeah. And we're talking about a 4 or 5 year period. Right. And that's startling. I mean, the average age of a first-time home buyer in the United States per NAR is over 40 years old. Yeah. I mean, and we're going to see a whole generation of folks who see home ownership as something that is a goal that they can't reach, and it's the backbone of the American dream. It's a way to create wealth and independence. I mean, that home is yours. You have more rights there in that home than anywhere else, and it's important. And we have to solve that problem, and advocacy is one way that we will seek to do that.
I feel like we are one of the few associations that has a professional person, Frankie, helping us get our message to legislators, to mayors, to councilmen, across the metro area. What do you want Frankie to do for us, I guess, in 26? Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, I think not only be the advocate, but to make sure that our local politicians understand that when they have questions about real estate, that they're coming to us for the answers. Once you're a veteran in the industry, I think sometimes we can forget the level of expertise we've accumulated and take it for granted. Yeah. There are perspectives. We'll go to NAR legislative here, in a few months, and we may have time to sit down with senators and, give, if not them, then their staff, information on housing they might not otherwise have. So if we're not going to be the advocates and experts for our industry, then who will be? So for Frankie and our staff, it's not only collecting that information, making us aware, but also making the politicians aware that they can come to us, that we're welcoming to them, and that we're here to help and create benefit for their constituents.
Yeah, I know every time there's an election and there's these referendums or ballot choices, it's always like, Frankie, how should we vote on this? What are you thinking? Right? Because it's complicated to us, right. And the things are written in ways that it seems like, oh, well, then that makes total sense. And then she or another one of our policy experts is like, actually, no, it's the opposite. And that's what, if you know anybody who's going to vote on this, you need to let them know that really it means this. And to your point, we may kind of judge ourselves harshly sometimes, that there's other people who know more than us. And so therefore I don't know that much, but really it goes on down the chain. A politician is probably an expert in whatever he did to make the money, or whatever she did to make the money to give them the freedom to volunteer as a politician. Right. But they don't know anything about what we do, or flood insurance, or, there's all these misconceptions. And I think that's one of our most vital roles is to, help them understand.
Right.
No. Think about this though. Oh yeah.
Well, what's fascinating, and I've been thinking more lately, and it's like objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, but really the future is coming at us so fast. I think we've gone all the way. And I mean, I guess 25 years, 30 years, kind of a long time, I guess. But we've gone from a position as realtors where we had, there wasn't a lot of information out there for consumers. And so they needed to come to us who had not only the access, but the ability to understand and interpret that language, to now there's so much information out there. They don't know what the good information is, so we've got to take it all apart and put it back together again, and help to explain to them what is relevant to their situation. So that's happened real fast.
Yeah, but that part of it where we want people to come to us to help them understand their choices or whatever their concern or question is, that hasn't changed from being the holders of the information to now the sifters of the information, or the
Well, think about, not to go down a rabbit hole here, but I will.
Let's do it.
Right.
Let's go.
I mean, think about a situation where, say you've got a buyer in due diligence and, they type into their phone, like, is this a bad market? Next thing you know, the algorithm's feeding them news articles, housing crash pending.
Right.
This is a real thing. This happens.
Sure.
And, on the same token, they could go the other direction. Now we're being positive about things. So understanding the information your clients are consuming is also important, asking them those questions, because, some of these folks, they're going to fact check. But ultimately, it's the trust they have with their chosen professional that's going to help them get to the best result. Right.
I know when I talked to a friend of mine who likes to buy and sell rental properties in Central Florida. And I said, what have you heard about all these lawsuits? And he goes, you mean the thing about the sinkholes? And I was like, exactly, right? Yeah, no worry, no concern at all about anything that he's heard. Just he's worried about sinkholes in Central Florida. That's the lawsuit he's worried about, not.
Nobody wants to fall into a sinkhole.
Well, true. All right, so let's end on a few fun questions. Okay. One piece of technology you can't run your business without.
Oh gosh, my iPhone.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good one.
I'm trying to think of other ones. I'm happy I'm not printing out MapQuest directions, even though I understand some Verizon users might have been doing that last week.
Yeah, I saw a meme about that. Are Atlanta Falcons or Atlanta United?
This is a tough one because I love the Falcons, but they keep hurting me. But I'm a huge football fan.
Right.
University of Georgia, go Dogs, go Falcons. And I watch every year. And the longer I get to stay engaged because, the team's doing well, the better. But go Falcons.
Yeah, they're a little bit of a heartbreaker past few years. What is your go-to spot to go to lunch after a closing?
Lunch after a closing. I skip lunch a lot.
Yeah.
I eat breakfast and then kind of
if you were gonna go to or take a client to a meal after a closing, where would you go?
I mean, you can't go wrong with some Mexican food.
Okay.
I mean, maybe El Ponce on Ponce de Leon there by Ponce City Market, the street from there a little bit. That's one of those places that was there, long before Ponce City Market was Ponce City Market. It was still City Hall East.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which wasn't that long ago, really.
No. Where can our listeners find you, our realtor members? How do they get in touch with you? That's something I feel like you think, oh, well, he's busy. He's the president, right? How can people find you if they want to ask you questions or if they want something you to focus on?
Well, they can message me on any of the major platforms. They can call. One thing that I have found myself repeating here in the last month is our members are welcome. We don't have to, invite and welcoming them in is strange because this is their place to come and be. This is their building, this is their association, and we want them to feel welcome. But you can see me on Instagram at Quinn Arnau Atlanta.
Okay.
That's an easy
Yeah,
way.
that's a good one.
You know, but any sorts of messages, text, calls, I'm happy to answer any questions.
And how can someone, if let's say they've been a realtor for a few years, they're a member of the association, they've done their new member orientation, and then they left the building and they hadn't been back since, how would you advise someone to get involved if they want to?
Well, what I would say is come to a committee meeting, you know, and we use this language like join a committee.
Mm-hmm.
And some of our committees, you know, you have the benefits are greater if you have a little experience, but, you know, come in and I would recommend governmental affairs. I mean, you've got some things of value to take directly to your clients if you're in there getting better information than others have, you know, this is going to pass, that's going to pass, you know, here's a new development I heard about, you know, here's what's going on with the tree ordinance, zoning 2.0. That's part of your job, is to understand the city you live in. And I would just say, follow the calendar.
Okay.
And you can check that out on our website. So follow the calendar and then, you know, see a committee meeting and come on in. You can always call the building and get advice there, but just know that you're welcome and that it's not exclusive, it's inclusive.
Yeah.
Welcoming.
Yeah. I was always afraid that if I went to a committee meeting, I'd have to work, or I'd have to, you know, like you can't just go to a committee meeting. And of course, the first committee meeting that I went to, I started working.
Sure.
So it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? But you know, a lot of people don't know you can just walk in here and wander around, right? And talk to people. You never know who you're going to meet. On our last little thing, again, Jim and I told me that you often use the phrase professional excellence. Why it knows that, I don't know, but it does. So, you know, I've seen that in you over these years. You know, we don't know each other as friends, but I know each other here. Seeing you be the treasurer, seeing you, you know, participate in the board of directors meetings, you know, that I think professional excellence seems to be a term that applies to you. Do you know why you say it often? Do you know you say it often?
Do I know I say it often? It may be. I may have been vice president of professional excellence twice. That might be what's driving the algorithm there. I mean, I think that you can't expect from other people things that you aren't willing to do yourself. And I understand that it's my responsibility to work hard to be a good example and set the bar for our members. And, you know, it's the easy way is the hard way sometimes. You know, the obstacle is the way. Doing things right, a full, transparent information, really just being very direct and approaching problems tactfully is the best way to do things. And, you know, I take pride in being a realtor, and there's a lot of confusion out there. There's a wide range of skill sets and motivations in our industry. And, you know, we're here to set the standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we'll do.
I agree. All right, that's a great way to end it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening and watching. Those of you who are following us on YouTube, we do have a YouTube channel. If you're listening on your favorite podcast app or device, please rate us, subscribe, download our episodes. We've got lots more great content coming up. If you want to have us talk about a topic that we haven't talked about, reach out to podcast at AtlantaRealtors.com. And thanks for listening.